Morning, everybody. Coach Bortosik here. Just going to go take a quick couple of minutes to go over some concepts in preparation for tomorrow's scrimmage and concepts and things we should be thinking of throughout the course of the season. If you hear some barking in the background, my wife's feeding the dogs, so just try to bleed that out for a second. The concept that we're going to go over today, as you can see up top, is pressure, cover, balance. Some of this stuff might be review for some players, new for others. Do a really quick review of some concepts that we've talked about before. That one being the 5 channels, right? They're already signified for us. 2 wide channels on the outside, half spaces in between the central space, right? 2 players in each. We've got that all across the board. Up top here, this bigger button is going to be signifying our opponent having the ball right now, and so we'll go ahead and talk through the concept of pressure, cover, balance. The concept basically helps us with our spacing, and if you remember earlier on an earlier video, we talked about the 2 differences between the words spacing and space. Spacing is what is between us, right? The spacing between all of us. And right now we're playing very wide. At this moment, currently up here, we're going to say that we have the ball and the opponent's about to engage our right midfielder. And so this helps us with our spacing, right? And then the space, the word space is what's between us and the opponent. So quick review there. What pressure, cover, balance is going to help us do is make sure, like I said, make sure that we stay spread out, and more importantly, make sure that we're not chasing the ball around. By chasing the ball around, meaning we're going to have more than one person trying to engage an opponent to regain possession. Once we do that, and I'll work through it here in a second, but let's just say for the sake of argument really quick, they have one possession from the right mid. The right mid's trying to regain possession, and say the center attacking midfielder runs all the way over here and is trying to help regain possession, right? You can already naturally see that we created a wide gap in the middle of the field. As a soccer player, if I have a ball and I see 2 defenders coming after me, would immediately, aside from the fact that I'm being pressured, the other thing that's I should automatically know, somebody on my team is open, right? So that's what we want to try to avoid. So like I said, making sure we don't chase the ball. And right now we are playing wide. As you can see, we're pretty spread out in our formation because we currently have possession. So the main goal of pressure, cover, balance is, we'll break it down. First is the pressure. Whenever we're going to pressure somebody, we only send 1 player at a time. As I just said before, never 2 players at a time. So in this case, right midfielder had the ball, got taken away from him by the opponent, trying to take it away. While they're trying to take it away, what needs to happen is, so they're engaging in the pressure right now. The cover, and granted, it's not going to look like this. There's always moving bodies and moving parts on the field and things of that nature. So it's never going to look exactly like this. So we're just mainly trying to cover the concept of what pressure, cover, balance should look like. So in this case, we're going to have one of our CDMs come over and cover, right? Because now that this right mid is engaging, once this right mid engages, we're trying to cover space in areas, right? That's what we talk about when we're talking about cover. So right now we've got a gap here. The CDM is going to move there. Now we've got a gap here. The center attacking midfielder is going to move over. The left center defense midfielder is going to move over, so we kind of have some semblance of a balance, right? And so one of the main goals, and so also what we'll be doing back here is, when we don't have possession, we go from switching from playing wide to central. So if you think of it kind of like an accordion, we expand and contract. If the opponents have the ball, we contract and we shift in. If we have the ball, we expand out. One of the purposes of that is what should be happening on the back line here is players are starting to expand in. So if we expand in, we force them to stay outside. And both sidelines are defenders, right? Those are extra defenders that are our friends that we want to make full utilization of. And also closes down passing lanes on the inside. It's harder for the opponent to pass if we've kind of condensed. And that's the other purpose of pressuring, right? It's not, the goal of the pressure isn't right away just to necessarily regain possession. Of course, we want to do that. But slowing the opponent down is what is allowing all of this stuff to happen on the back end. It allows the CDM to cover. It allows the central attacking midfielder to cover here. And it allows the back end CDM to provide balance. And all of these pieces are moving behind, are allowed to move into position because our right midfielder is slowing down the progress, right? And we're okay with a one-on-one. If we've got a superstar here who thinks they can dribble this ball all the way to the goal, we'll go ahead and let them. At this point in time, we say that the opponent gets past our right midfielder and runs right into the next player. And then what happens here is now we've got a vacated area here. The right fullback moves into position. The right center back shifts over to the edge, right? And we keep having this balanced concept. So let's say for the sake of argument, they beat the right center defensive midfielder. Then the fullback gets possession. And the first thing we do, now we've gotten possession back, first thing we want to do is pass out of the regain. It's something we've talked about a lot with the players. Pass out of the regain, pass out of regaining possession. And it should be not, I have one possession and I'm going to boot the ball all the way down the field. We want to try to avoid that unless we're really in trouble in front of this area where we're trying to clear the ball out. If we just boom the ball down to the other side of the field with as hard as we can kick it with no aim, that's what we call a 50-50 ball, right? So it may be on the other side of the field, but we've in essence probably kicked it right back to the other team. And then we're starting this process all over again. We don't want to do that. We want to immediately get possession so we can begin our build up to attack and score a goal. So once the CDM has one possession over here, the first thing they should be doing is looking for the shortest, quickest pass, right? It should, have three options. If we're generally, even though we're playing central, we're generally still spread out. Once our teammates have seen that the right fullback has won the ball, then we're all kind of moving back into positions. These pieces are starting to shift back, right? And trying to create those angles, right? Triangles everywhere, like when we do those rondo drills. And then ideally, whoever gets past the ball should have at least two or three options. And then we just continue to matriculate the ball down the field. I think that's all I have for this. Let me review my notes real quick. Yep, I think that's all I got, like I said. And the key to remembering here is once we regain possession, make it a nice, short, concise pass. We want to maintain possession. And so that is pressure, cover, balance. Thanks for your time.